On the 2nd of February 1970, a pilot, ejected from a falling jet, accepted his death and watched from his parachute as his plane did something that should be mathematically impossible. It didn't crash, it didn't explode, it decided it didn't need him. While the pilot floated to Earth, the 20-ton supersonic weapon corrected its own flight, scanned the horizon, and performed a perfect landing in a deserted field, all with an empty cockpit. This isn't just a story about a crash that didn't happen, it's the moment a machine proved it was smarter than its creator. And the reason why it happened is even more terrifying than the crash itself.
The airplane immediately went completely nose down and recovered from the spin and flew off. Flew off a number of miles away and landed by itself.
To understand why this is a glitch in reality, you have to understand the F-106 Delta Dart. It wasn't just a plane, it was a 1,500 mph missile with a cockpit attached. It was designed to intercept Soviet bombers during the Cold War. It was heavy, fast, and notoriously difficult to handle. On that freezing morning over Montana, First Lieutenant Gary Foust wasn't just flying, he was wrestling a beast. But at 35,000 feet, the beast fought back. Foust entered a flat spin. In aviation, this is the end of the line. The plane isn't diving nose first, it's spinning horizontally, like a coin on a table. The air stops flowing over the wings. The controls become mush. There is no recovery manual for a flat spin. In an F-106, you are effectively sitting in a falling building that is also a merry-go-round from hell. Foust tried everything. He deployed the drag chute to try and jerk the nose down. It didn't work. He toggled the thrusters. Nothing. His wingman, Major Jim Lowe, was flying alongside him, watching the F-106 rotate helplessly. Lowe's voice crackled over the radio. "You'd better get out of there, Gary." At 15,000 feet, Gary Foust gave up. He pulled the handles. The canopy shattered. The rockets under his seat ignited with a bone-shattering roar. Foust was punched out into the sub-zero air. As he drifted under his white silk parachute, he waited for the boom. He waited for the orange fireball that would signal the end of a $1 million aircraft. But the sky stayed silent. This is where the story stops being a military report and starts being a supernatural mystery. The moment Foust left the plane, the aerodynamics changed. The center of gravity shifted forward by just a few inches. The blast from the ejection seat actually pushed the nose down. Suddenly, the unrecoverable spin stopped. With no pilot at the stick, the F-106 leveled its wings. It trimmed itself for a steady glide. It was as if the plane waited for the human to leave before it decided to behave. Foust watched, dangling in his harness, as his own jet flew away from him, appearing perfectly stable, cruising over the mountains like it was on a Sunday stroll. For the next few miles, the ghost plane was in total control.
The airplane immediately went completely nose down and recovered from the spin and flew off. Flew off a number of miles away and landed by itself.
It bypassed mountains. It maintained a steady descent. It eventually lined itself up with a snow-covered alfalfa field near Big Sandy, Montana. As it approached the ground, something called ground effect took over. The air compressed between the wings and the snow, creating a natural cushion. The plane didn't slam into the earth, it flared. It touched down so gently that it didn't even break the landing gear, even though the gear wasn't even down. The 20-ton jet skidded across the snow, drifted through a farmer's fence, and came to a rest. When the local sheriff, Earl Heflin, arrived 45 minutes later, he didn't find a wreck, he found a miracle. The jet was sitting in the middle of a field, perfectly intact. The engine was still running. The heat from the exhaust was melting the snow around it. But the most chilling part? The radar was still sweeping. The green light on the dashboard was pulsing back and forth, searching for an enemy in the empty Montana sky. It was a ghost ship, fully armed, fully functional, and completely alone. The sheriff didn't know how to turn it off. He had to wait nearly 2 hours for the fuel to run out before the heart of the cornfield bomber finally stopped beating. When the Air Force recovery team arrived, they were stunned. The damage was so minor that they literally drove a trailer out to the field, loaded the plane up, and took it back to the base. They fixed the minor scratches on the belly, and believe it or not, the plane went back into active combat duty. Gary Foust eventually saw his plane again. He walked up to the machine that had abandoned him, and realized that if he had stayed inside for just 10 more seconds, he would have died. The plane saved itself, but in doing so, it saved him too. But here is the part that keeps aviation experts up at night. Was it just physics, or was it an early glimpse into a future where machines don't need us anymore? We like to think we are in control of our technology, but on a cold morning in 1970, a jet proved that sometimes the pilot is just extra weight. The F-106 Cornfield bomber now sits in a museum in Ohio. If you stand close enough to the cockpit, you can still see where the canopy was blown off. Does this story make you trust technology more? Or does it freak you out that a machine can decide to survive without you? I want to see your theories in the comments. Is this a glitch in the Matrix, or just the luckiest landing in history? If you want more deep dives into the world's most chilling aviation mysteries, hit that subscribe button. We've got a 30-minute breakdown of the ghost flight of Helios 522 coming up next. And trust me, you don't want to miss that one.